Good afternoon and welcome to episode 188 of the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Howard Kravitz. We are live on a beautiful Saturday at Keeneland Racecourse for their three Grade 1 races as preps for the Breeders' Cup. We're very excited to talk about all these races live, and we want to hear your comments. Please make sure you subscribe on the bottom right-hand side. Hit that subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell so the new content will arise. And also smash that like button, which will tell YouTube this is a great show. You can find me on Twitter at HKravitz. There on the banner and also below on the scroll is my email, hkravitzhorse@gmail.com. You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Anchor. We've got power picks. We'll talk about those later. They are red hot. Check it out on Patreon. Look below the video player for our red hot power picks and ABC grids for pick fives throughout the country. We also have a great website, hhhracingpodcast.com. Go ahead and check that out. And we also want to welcome our new official sponsors, Hawthorne Racecourse and Stable Duel. We've got about 11 minutes to post to the first race that we're going to be showing and talking about. Let me get right to my fantastic co-hosts from the East Coast of Maryland. We got Pete Visco, and from Chicago, Kyle Roscoe. Guys, Keeneland Grade 1's coming up. How are we doing today?
What's going on?
Nothing. I'm happy.
Doing all right?
Be great races today. So
Great
far,
races.
haven't been great.
Guys,
so far, no good.
No, not last race.
Well, we'll be talking about some races throughout the country. Not so much on today's show, but mainly on Tuesday evening. So make sure you guys check it out for our next show Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Pete and Kyle, the first race we're going to talk about, there's 10 minutes to post. We're going to quickly show the PPs, show our picks, and then I want to show everyone our pick threes. Actually, let's do that first, guys. We've got pick threes we want to show everyone. If you're interested in playing a pick three in the all grade ones, I've got everyone's pick threes. I asked my co-host to give me a $50 or less ticket, so I'm going to show everyone. They have the right to do it any way they want. So they could have played a spready like dollar ticket. They could have gone chalky. Let me show everyone, my co-hosts, pick three tickets coming up here right now. First, we'll show Pete very quickly. You can talk about your ticket. Pete's going 4-5 with 2-3, 5-7-10 with 6-7-9 for $1.50. Pete, real quick, your thoughts here on your ticket.
I mean, it's got some potential to be a little chalky, so I wanted to go with a higher denomination as opposed to just a 50-cent spread. But I did go spread a little bit in the next race, not this one, just because I feel like that race is pretty deep. And obviously the last one, I think you can go a bunch of different ways, but I like the 6, 7, 9 are sort of my keys. So I figured let me just stick with them. And then this upcoming race we'll talk about in a minute.
All right, Pete's sinus infection in full effect.
Yes. Apologies to everybody listening for the nasally voice, but I do what I'm fighting through it for you guys.
We appreciate you joining the show. We hope you feel better. It is not your microphone, everyone. It's not your stereo. It is Pete's voice.
Yes, it is the sinus. Yes, it is the sinus running through this household.
Kyle's going with a dollar pick three, 3-5 with 2, 5, 7, 10 with 3, 5, 6, 7, 9. Last race 10, Kyle, real spread for you.
Yeah, these last two races in this sequence going to be really deep for me. Like I said, this race it's your classic Chad Brown race of the day. Not too much to talk about. Obviously, we'll get to it in a second. The next two races, especially the one in the middle there, I mean, you can go a bunch of different ways with the two Cox horses and the 2 and the 5. Forte, obviously, with the 7, and then with Pletcher and the 10. And then the 10th, I mean, it's your normal race. There's a lot, your turf race. There's a lot of ways you can go in this race. Obviously with Smooth Like Straight Out, it takes out one of those possible winners of that race, but still a lot of possible winners.
I was actually upset. Oh, sorry. I was actually upset with the scratch because that was a one price horse that I liked was Emirati, and I really liked that horse, and I was upset when that one scratched because I feel like the rest of the sequence I'm leaning a little bit too on the lower choices.
Chad's got another one there with Mason, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
All right, everyone, hold on to your hats, folks. You guys know that I'm aggressive, right? So here we go. Here's my pick three, everyone. Get ready to go to your ADW and ready to pound this, and you can celebrate in an hour and a half. Are we ready? I am playing That's right. There's no typo. A $25 pick 3. Bam. We're going to single the 5 Regal Glory in the first leg. Then I'm going 210 in the 2-year-old race. And I'm singling my possible new son, Santine. Guys, this is a $25 pick 3. My guess is at best it can pay around $40-50 for $1. I'll take $1,000 right now on a $50 bet. So I'm going for it, guys. Pete, am I crazy?
No, I mean it's chalky. I mean, you're not exactly breaking ground here. You're going to lose in the first leg, so you're going to have $50 down the tubes, but that's all right.
Easy now.
That's all right.
Easy. All right.
Wait. Just for the record, for all the listeners, once again, Howard is going anti-Italian, as I say every week. So, as I say every show.
No, I've got a good reason.
You're biased, and you're biased against the Italians. It's okay. We understand.
We got to talk about it real quick, and I wanted to bring up. This is very bizarre because for some reason. Okay, I see. It's just a little different. Okay, real quick, guys. Here's the race. Let's talk about it. We've got we've got about 6 minutes. Whoops, I didn't want to show that. Got 6 minutes to post here, guys. This is the first lady coming up here in 6 minutes. Let me put our stuff on screen. Again, if you're not familiar with our live show, we cannot show the race live due to contractual obligations. I'm going to call the race live, and of course, you can watch it. So turn your TV down at home. Turn up your volume on your iPad computer so you can hear us talk through the race as it happens. But again, we're not going to show the video of it. I'm just going to be talking through the race, but live as it happens. So it's the first lady. It's a grade 1. This is not a win and you're in. It's $750,000, guys. It's the Chad Brown Fiesta here. He's got 3 of them in the race with technical analysis in Italian and Regal Glory. Those odds are live right now. You can see on the screen there. I've got actually 3-5 on Regal Glory. Let me actually, I don't know if we're going to, we'll show the PPs real quick here. We actually have another co-host to bring in. It looks like we've got Paul Halloran coming in here. Paul, you're not on. There you go. How you doing, Paul?
I'm doing well.
What's up, Paul?
Paul, did you see my pick 3?
I did not.
Here it is.
I've
heard a lot about it.
What do you think? It's $25 pick 3, Paul. Bam. Let's go.
Who's the 7?
That's Santine. Santine. Uh-oh.
Oh, we're losing you, Paul.
Paul, you've got internet issues. I'm going to take you off. Pete, who's going to have the lead in this race? We talked about this a lot on Thursday. Technical analysis for Chad, who likes to show speed. In Italian, who definitely like to show speed. Real Glory will be coming off. Is it going to be in Italian or is it going to be technical analysis? What's your guess? It doesn't really matter anyway.
I mean, it matters. I hope it's in Italian because that's who I have. That's who I have on top to win. So I hope it's in Italian. I hope that she gets a relatively comfortable lead. They sit technical analysis off just a little bit, and then Regal Glory will sit a little bit more in the back, and then Princess Grace, I assume, and Vigilante's Way. There's a lot of like to be near the top horses in this race. So it actually sets up perfect for Regal Glory, which is why I was making fun of your sing a little bit, because it's actually perfect because it should go perfect to plan it. But the only thing is with these Chad Browns in a race, you never know what the hell he's going to instruct them to do. So I'm hoping in Italian just sort of goes on his own, her own, I meant the jockey more, runs away a little bit and they can get away.
Please make sure you guys comment on the top right-hand side of the screen. We'd love to hear your comments. I have one reason why I'm against an Italian. It has absolutely zero to do with the fact the name is in Italian, of course. Guys, I noticed this yesterday. I'm not a big weight. I'm not Paul, we're still having issues with you. I'm going to take him off. I'm not a big weight guy, Kyle, but in Italian does pick up 6 pounds. That is a decent amount of weight. She's running 4 pounds that she's never run before. I'm thinking that might mean a little bit. Kyle, what's your feeling on weight in general?
I've never been that much of a weight guy, but I always look more to it in more route races than I do in sprint races. I just believe, especially on the 2 turns, I think it makes a lot more of a difference than in a 1-turn sprint. But it's definitely something to note that she's never run with this type of weight before. And I mean, you can look at her last race, Pete, to your point. Look at her last race. She had technical analysis, but she had Bleecker Street in her last race. Same type of setup here at Saratoga with the 3 Chad Browns. And you see they sent an Italian out to the lead by herself, and she ran off the feet.
Yep, that's what I'm hoping for again. The Italians, by the way, we can hold our weight. A little lasagna, a little meatball. She doesn't. She doesn't know the difference. That's how we work. So she's going to be just fine with the extra.
No
weight.
iron weights, only spicy meatball.
That's what we live for that.
Hey, Paul, why don't you tell everyone where you are and what's your opinion on weights for these horses? If it's a big change. All right, we're having issues with Paul. Sorry, Paul. Paul, if you can hear us, we got to take you off right now, Paul. You got to get a better cell. So I guess the question, Real Glory 3 to 5. It's gonna be very interesting to see what happens. Is there anyone else you'd even consider in this race, Pete?
I mean, sure. I hate Princess Grace. After last one, I was cursing her and said I'll never bet that horse again. So she's pretty much a lock, actually. But I think Princess Grace is relatively talented, and given the right circumstances, I could see winning. I don't really like Vigilante's Way too much, and Market Rumor seems to be out of her depth, technical enough. So it's going to come down most likely to the 3 Chads. Let's not make it more complicated than it is, most likely.
What I see, guys, is they're stepping onto the turf course. It says 1 minute. The turf's been fast. Speaking of fast, there was a pretty fast horse that just ran on the turf two races ago. That was 2 races ago, right? Was that the last race? No, yeah, 2 races ago.
2 races ago.
2.
We'll talk about Golden Pal, guys, on Tuesday, but
I missed it. I didn't. I was in the car. I saw that it looked like he won by a decent amount. Did he roll?
Yeah,
Okay.
he ran pretty easily. All right, they're going in the gate, guys. For the first lady, I guess the question really is which Chad Brown is going to win this race. Again, we cannot show it on screen. I'm watching the Keeneland feed, guys. This can't be too far behind the real time. Mm-hmm. But again, those of you watching at home, because of the way YouTube works, there's about a 5-second delay. So the number 3 is going to the gate as we see it. As you folks see it at home, listen to me right now. They're probably almost left the gate. Here come the 5 is going in, Regal Glory, and then Market Rumor. As they're almost all in the gate for the Grade 1 First Lady, the first of 3 Grade 1s here on the HHH Racing Podcast.
I need Regal Glory, man.
And they're off. And in Italian, guys, broke a little slow, but she is definitely going. In Italian is going to get the lead. That is no surprise.
There you go. It's over.
Well, Pete hopes the race is over.
Wire.
Let's wire it, Kyle.
Spot, guys. And Regal Glory in a good spot. Your thoughts early, Pete?
Well, I like the 4 on the top. I mean, I think this is going to be a pretty boring race to call. I think they're just going to run like this around, and then when they hit the turn, Regal Glory will make her move. Hopefully, an Italian has something left in the tank, and then it looks like, I think technical analysis is in her normal position, just sitting right off. Although I think she's better on the lead, but she keeps getting in races with these other Chad Browns who also like the lead. So I'm not sure technical analysis.
I got to talk about the race, Pete. Pete, you got to keep the comments a little shorter.
Oh,
beyond the half mile, Pete likes to talk.
Everybody's watching the race. You know that, right?
Yeah, well, we don't know. We don't know about that. Real Glory has the lead. They're about to hit the far turn. Technical analysis on the inside.
Get that pig out of there.
In Italian on the lead. Real Glory now making her move. She's going to be 3 wide. In Italian looks pretty comfortable. Here comes technical analysis.
Please.
And right behind Real Glory, it looks like it's going to be Chad 1, 2, 3. In Italian, has the lead. Here comes technical analysis.
Real Glory,
here comes
blood by everybody.
Glory. Come on,
away.
Regal, I need you for this pick 5.
Kick away. This is too easy.
Come on, Regal Glory.
Kick away. You can't catch the Italians.
Come on, Regal. Kick in.
No,
she's not getting there. What I tell you, $50 down the tubes.
Is going to go
50 down the tubes.
In Italian, wire to wire. Regal Glory second. I think Princess Grace came up for third. Guys, Real Glory is not the same. I'm completely off her now. She's not the same, guys. And in Italian, congratulations anyone in Italian. Nice win for you, Pete, and anyone else. Kyle, your quick thoughts. Really no excuses for anyone. Real
Kyle's
Glory.
Distraught.
She's just not the same. I don't think she's the same.
I'm just gonna this fucking sucks. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. But
no,
man,
this is what I want, man. There goes my pick 3 down the drain.
I'm down just for numbers' sake. I'm down everything. I'm out of everything now.
Oh, no.
But I mean, yeah, she just. I mean, exactly. You can compare it exactly to what happened at Saratoga. They left an Italian out to the lead, technical analysis right behind, and Bleecker Street behind them, and they ran the exact same way basically, except technical analysis held on for second in that last race. So, just in Italian, I think. I mean, she's a good horse, but like I said, getting those leads like that, and she did break slow. You are correct, Howard. I just watched the replay. She did kind of put her nose to the dirt a little bit, but just another good ride by Joel on this horse. Perfect.
In Italian, Pete is getting really good. Now, I think that Diana is more indicative of saying she's really good over this race, just because I think the fractions were slower here. I didn't actually see fractions. Did you guys see fractions? Am I missing something?
I didn't even. I wasn't really looking. It seemed like she was comfortable.
Obviously, I'm not listening to the audio, so I don't know what the fractions were.
I don't think the fractions even matter when you can go fast if you're an excellent horse. You can go fast as long as you're going comfortable fast and you're not going oppression fast. And they completely let her run away. I mean, I'd be pissed if I was the Regal Glory. I mean, that's when you wonder, like from an ownership standpoint, when you have like 3 Chads, like, hey, you're letting your other horse just go and you're basically not setting us up for an off the pace kind of horse.
Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and say I'm surprised at all. I think, guys, again, father time, mother time, whatever you want to call it, mother nature, etc., will catch up with everyone. I think the real glory, like last year or previous year or two, would have gone by Italian. That's my opinion. She's clearly not the same, guys. She's 6 years old, now. I don't know where they're going to go with her. In Italian, I mean, you're not going to go to the Breeders' Cup Mile, are you? I don't even know if she's nominated for that race. That was her big race, guys, I would think. So I don't know. She's really good though right now, and her upside is huge.
Yeah. I mean, I think the good thing she's shown is she can run the mile, she can go a little longer. So she's versatile enough. Distance wise, I'm trying to find. Go ahead, Kyle. I was looking at the Filly Mare Turf odds quickly just to see where In Italian sort of sits there. She's sitting at 10-1 there, and then where is the?
So she is listed. She is listed.
She's 10-1 there. I'm trying to find the. Oh, here's the mile. Yeah, I don't think she would go. Yeah, she's not listed in the mile. I don't imagine. I think those waters are way too deep. No, I would think Filly Mare Turf is where I would go.
Well, I would think it's too far. I mean, she got the mile in 8th last time, but I don't know. I'm going to predict that none of them are going to the Breeders' Cup. Well, obviously not technical analysis, but I don't think there's a race for her.
Oh, I think she's going. I think she'll go.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, why not? You got a horse in such good form. Might as well take the shot when you can, right?
I mean, where would you go with her, Pete?
I'd probably go with the Filly Mare Turf and just see if we could test her distance. I don't know, because I mean,
just go to the lead and try to stretch her
I mean, what the hell are you gonna do? Because I just think she might be out of her depth in the mile. No, I mean, I guess you have to see the field, but
I don't know. I mean, I suppose. I mean, the Americans are better in the mile, in my opinion, although Warlike Goddess won today pretty impressively. I don't know. I think she'll go to the Filly Mare Turf if she goes. I would agree with you. There's going to be less speed in the Filly Mare Turf. Let me just put us back on screen. There's going to be less speed in the Filly Mare Turf. And I think that's where she would go. The other option is to rest her up for, I believe, what is it, the Matriarch at Del Mar, or right late after Thanksgiving, right? Don't they have I think it's the Matriarch. It's a big grade 1 out there for older fillies and mares. I think that's a mile. Someone wants to tell me in the chat about the Matriarch. They used to be at Hollywood. I think they run it at Del Mar over that like Thanksgiving kind of meet.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle, if you were Peter Brandt, wouldn't we all like to be Peter Brandt, the owner? Where would you go with her if you were to go to the Breeders' Cup, mile or the Filly Mare Turf?
I mean, you said it yourself. I mean, they're generally less speed than that Filly and Mare Turf, the longer race division. I mean, and like to Pete's point, I mean, she's getting good at the right time. She's at the later in the year, coming into November, she's getting really good. She's in perfect form. Why not take? I mean, it's Peter Brandt, so I mean, does he really have too much to lose by letting this filly take a shot in something like the Filly and Mare Turf? Granted, might not get that win, but might as well getting in the form at the right time. Might as well let her run, have a shot.
Yeah, I agree, and obviously the weight didn't matter. By the way,
Yeah,
I mean,
correct.
if you think it did, it didn't seem to show there. Um, I did put 4 or 5 guys on my all turf pick 3. So I guess in the all turf pick 3, Pete, which I didn't actually play because I just didn't see a lot of value in this first race, and I don't know, I decided not to play it. It's hard to go 4 or 5 evenly when it's basically 2 lower prices in a small field. But if you use the 4, that's definitely going to boost up this all turf pick 3.
Yeah, I hope so. I actually used them both. I did play the
Okay.
all turf. I used them both just because I didn't feel like getting beat. I'd rather cash a smaller ticket and get my money back than not. I wasn't playing. I mean, I only spent $18 on it anyway with the single, a golden pal, 2 here, and then I went. I only went 3 deep in the last leg. So, but I liked an Italian, but I saw that the race potentially could set up for Regal Glory, so didn't want to lose to her. I didn't mind losing the technical analysis if she happened to win.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I got a text from my brother. Everything's fine.
It's not the
Kyle,
worst exacta in the world either, by the way. $16.80 for $2. It's not great, but I mean the 2 pretty obvious horses.
8 to
It's not
1.
the worst in the world. Yeah.
Kyle, what was your final thoughts on this race? Princess Grace came up and ran third. She's just not good enough. Um, there's really
Yeah.
not a technical analysis. I guess you could say was disappointing. We talked about the fact she's the only one that had not won a Grade 1 here. So,
Mhm.
anything else you want to comment on here, Kyle?
No, I mean it's just that's one kind of the one thing you can't say. I mean, Princess Grace sat a little bit farther off than she normally does, but I mean, there's really nothing to say. Yeah, you can say technical analysis was a little bit disappointing, but we were I mean, granted, I had her, which that figures, but it's just, I mean, she was the one that a lot of people are going to throw off their tickets, especially after Italian's last race. So I think the
Yeah.
4 or 5 is fine there. You go 2 deep, get through, and then if you went single 2, you either have the option you're pretty spread probably in this last race here, and I know
Sure.
Pete is.
I think
Guys,
looking,
do me
Kyle,
a
go ahead,
favor.
Howard. Go ahead,
If
Howard.
one of you could email me your live stable duel stable so we can show it on air and talk a little about stable duel at some point, I'd appreciate it. We all played. Kyle, you played stable duel today?
I woke up late. I
Okay.
woke up too
Well,
late.
Pete and I played Stable Duel, guys. We're going to talk
Yeah.
about Stable Duel a bit as well. They're one of our new sponsors. They had a $5 contest and a $50 contest. I played in the $50 contest. I will readily admit I'm doing awful today, for me especially. And that sounds arrogant, but I usually do pretty well in Stable Duel. I've had some favorites that have finished like last. I mean, some just weird stuff going on today. I had Real Glory on one of my stable duel entries. I did not use
I had
an Italian just because it cost me too much money. You had an Italian on your stable duel? Pete?
Yeah, I'm looking at mine now. Yeah, I just sent it to
Terrific.
you. I had
Yes, you
Golden
did.
Pal and in Italian as the only 2 winners though so
Okay.
far. So nothing
Terrific.
fantastic.
We'll get Pete's stable duel up on the screen, guys. As I do that, let me go ahead and bring up. Hold on one second here, as I'm just switching a few things around here.
Hey Kyle,
Let me go-
while we wait for Howard there, do you
Yeah.
think technical analysis part of the problem with her is, again, she seems to do better on the lead and they keep putting her in races where she doesn't get the lead? You think maybe they just need to figure out different spots for her to see if she can get a spot where she can clear a little bit?
I mean,
Well,
you can see
it'd
it.
probably help if there wasn't another Chad Brown.
That's what I mean. Put her
yeah.
away
Yeah,
from the
yeah.
other excellent
Yeah.
Chads, maybe.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, you could see it last race with the one at Saratoga in August. I mean, she got to the lead easy and she ran away with it. Granted, she got caught. She's getting caught a little bit by Fluffy Socks in the end there, but the same thing. Fluffy Socks isn't going to contend for that lead in that race, so
No.
it's that same type of thing. They definitely could try and find. The problem is Chad's got so many good horses in this
Yeah.
division that it's kind of hard to find a spot for this horse where he's not going to have other horses.
That's
so,
the problem. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, for
it's a
sure.
good problem to have. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
but-
of course. Unless you're that horse.
Well, I guess right. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go ahead and bring up, as I bring this up, I'm going to go ahead and also bring up your stable duels. I'm sort of multitasking. Guys, why don't you take a few minutes here and start talking about the next race, which is the Breeders' Futurity, sponsored by Claiborne. Fantastic farm. It's Grade 1. This is a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. It's $600,000. It's a mile of 16 for the 2-year-old boys. You can see the field, and we do have to keep going down to the 15 Carmel Road, who does get in for Baffert and adds even more speed to this race. Pete, I'm going to let you start the conversation. Kyle, then you'll talk about it as well. We'll talk about our choices, and I'll show you your stable duel. Pete, what are your first impressions of this race?
Well, we talked about this one on the show, obviously Thursday, and I'm on the 10 Lost Ark as my top choice. Just a few things I liked. I like the breeding. I had the dam 39% wins in dirt roots, and it's called that includes being a half to Nest and Idol, who are obviously top notch, who have won top notch Grade 1 races. So I like that, especially stretching back out. Picks up Pratt. So I kind of like you're going to most likely get a good ride. Has been dominant in both her starts. The buyers have improved. They're not as high as maybe some of the others in the field, but I figure maybe this is one that as the distances get longer, the buyers maybe increase a little bit. So I'm on the 10 a bit. Kyle, we didn't hear your picks. Who's your top choice in this one?
I am with you. I do really like the 10. Like I said, I think it's going to be kind of that same setup with I think the 10's going to get a good setup. Forte's going to get a good setup in this race. I know Howard really loves the 2, so I won't steal his thunder in that horse, but definitely, I mean, like I said, it's going to be a good setup, I think, for the. Are you on the 10 as well? Okay.
Yeah, he was on the 10 too on the show. Yeah.
I don't know. Then what do I know? I guess I'm just off on everything today, I guess. But I do like the 10. His last race was extremely impressive. And like I said, I think he's going to get a good setup in here. So, I mean, and that's 6-1. What is he right now? He's 5-1 right now, projected 6-1 on DRF. So that's looking like a pretty juicy price as well.
Well, this race had 800 plus time form early pace figures, 100 over 100. So there potentially could be some speed up front, which could bode well for horses like Lost Ark and Forte.
We're going to give it all this, and then, it's going to be the 2 out by himself, and
then that's it, right? Yeah, exactly. That's how it always works.
So, Pete, real quick, for people that are not familiar with Stable Duel, we want to make sure we promote it. This is Pete's entry right there. You see the green numbers are obviously positive, and that's good. Without getting a lot of details, that means those horses most likely finish in the top 4. Although it could be top 5, that's a whole other conversation. The red numbers are obviously not good. Prove Right was a real nice horse, Pete, that you started early. You got 36 points there. You had Golden Pal and Garrett Jockey, who just held on for 4th in a dead heat. And then you got an Italian. So you still have Lost Ark is very live, Casa Creed, and then you've got some 2 long shots. You're going to need Lost Ark and Casa Creed to win. That'll give you another 120 plus. You could still get over 300. You've got a shot to cash in this contest still, Pete.
Oh, I mean, I'm going to win the last 4, so I'm not too concerned with that.
Wow.
I mean,
okay.
This is where the heart of the in Italian down was the heart of the ticket. So we're gonna try and have some confidence for once, which I'm sure will be dashed pretty quickly in this race.
I absolutely love the confidence. Speaking of confidence, the number 4 confidence game is scratched out of this race. That's called a segue in the broadcasting world there, Kyle, just to help you when you have your own podcast when I'm dead and gone in about like a year and a half. Anyway, no, just hopefully not. Let's bring up the PPs, guys, of this race. I need to say something right now real quick. This is extremely important. We've got plenty of time here. What I'm about to offer everyone, and I'm very serious about this because I want to thank all of you for watching the show. I put on Twitter, Pete and Kyle, that I was going to have a possibility to win some free money today. And I have made a bet already. And I'm going to try to bring this up on the screen right now so people can see. I need to cover up the transaction ID. But let me see if this works here. Now, people are just going to have to believe me, I think. I was going to bring it up. Can you guys see on the top of the screen?
There it goes.
What does that say, Kyle? Can you read that?
$50 race 9, 10-7.
Straight double, right?
Yep.
Everyone sees that. Bam. So I've already bet a $50 straight double, okay? 10-7, which is Lost Ark to Santine. Right now, that double, hold on one second. Let's see what that pays, guys. I'm hoping it pays like 20 for $1 was my hope, somewhere around there. Let's see. Probables 10 with 7. Oh my goodness. How about did I see 28? Did I see $28?
Let me see.
Actually, it's exactly 20. No. 710 double. Why don't
this is awesome radio, by the way, podcast.
Wait a minute. 10-7, my bad. 10-7. The 10-7 double right now. Oh my goodness. 35? Do I see 35? I do see 35 right now. Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yes. So guys,
Mm-hmm.
I'm live to 1750 if I can hit this. So here's what I'm offering up to anyone who's watching live right now. I'm completely serious. This is going to happen. Okay. The first person, you have to do this in the chat. You've got to put this answer in the live chat, and you have, basically up till about a minute or two to the race, which is you got another 12 minutes. You can use any resource you want. In the live chat, if you are the first one to answer this question correctly, you will get 10%. That's right. 10% of this double if it hits. As of right now, that is $175. Bam. Directly right to you. Here's the question. Matt Miller, if you're watching, you may not answer this question. Pete and Kyle, obviously, I don't want you guys to say anything. Here's the question. You guys can look this up. This is for the viewers. Last year in the Breeders' Cup betting challenge, I hit a huge double. You have to tell me in the chat what was the double I had in last year's Breeders' Cup. You have to tell me not the dollar amount, the two horses. So this horse to this horse, who did I have in the Breeders' Cup betting challenge last year? Now, how do you find out? You can go back on the YouTube channel and look up our Breeders' Cup recap shows from last year. You can go and look at the results of the Breeders' Cup last year and just try to guess the two horses I had. You only get one guess. Ross Blacker, you are incorrect. Sorry, Ross Blacker. I don't want to say what they are, but Ross Blacker, you are not correct. You only get one. You guys get one guess, guys. And you have to tell me the two horses. Again, the two horses that I bet in a big double. When I say big, I'm not going to say the prices were necessarily big. It just was a big cash for me. I don't want to be misleading. So what two horses that I played? It could have been Friday. It could have been Saturday. You can look it up on the Breeders' Cup last year and just guess, or you can go back to our shows where we had Breeders' Cup recaps and find out. Again, you have about 12 minutes. Anyone that gets that correct in the chat, Kyle and Pete will have 10% of this double if it hits. Don't say who, but Pete and Kyle, do you know who this was? Do you know the two horses?
My memories be crap because I remember you're a big exacta. I remember that. But I don't know if I remember the double.
Well, I played a big double. I don't want to mislead. I'm not saying.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not saying the prices that they won at were huge. I'm saying I did a large dollar amount with this double. Pete, do you remember who it was? Again,
I have absolutely no idea. No.
Okay.
I don't even remember my own bets.
These guys don't listen to me. They don't
oh no,
care.
I do know it.
So I'll tell you what. I don't want to say. There's people putting stuff in the chat. I actually don't want to say who's right and who's wrong. We'll just wait and see. Tom Espinoza put a guess in. Again, I can't say if it's correct or not. These are two consecutive races, everyone. Obviously, it was a double. Two consecutive races. Anyway, if the first person that's right has a chance to win up to $175 as of now. Of course, I got to hit my $50 double. All right, guys, let's get into let me show the PPs of the next race. Pete, you were talking about there's a lot of speed in here. There's speed everywhere. Who is the speed of the speed in this race, Pete, as I bring up the PPs?
Well, it's probably, now that he's in, a combination of Carmel Road, the 15 with Baffert, and probably the two Loggins for whoever that is, Cox. So I think those two are quick, but I would assume Carmel Road, because from the 15 hole, that horse has to go. I don't really know if it has much of a shot otherwise. So I assume that will be the speed. And plus, we know Baffert likes to get his horses out there. It's got Saez, who obviously likes to, kind of put his horses on the top. So that's my guess. But I mean, if you look at it from a time for perspective, Carmel Road's a 118, Loggins 117, the other Baffert Newgate, right? The other, he's a Baffert, right? Newgate 115, Bourbon Bash 113, two Phils 113. I mean, so theoretically, there's a ton of speed. So who the hell knows?
Well, Powerful's a 112 from the 14.
Yep, that was the next one. Yep, and obviously has to go. Yeah,
the speed on the outside, Kyle, is crazy. What do you do with Newgate? I mean, this is also a Baffert. Kyle, I'd be shocked if they're both going to send hard. I mean, or are they? I don't know.
I mean, in this case, I mean, I'm looking at the early fractions here on who's going to even be able to beat out one another. Because the problem is that all those horses on the outside, you got to assume Carmel Red has to go. He has no choice but to try and outbreak everyone else, which Baffert's, they do have a tendency, obviously, to do. But I mean, if the 15 doesn't break, I mean, where's he? I mean, is he going to try and slot in behind everybody? I mean, I don't know.
No,
I mean,
I think Newgate might take. I think Newgate's going to leave, but not aggressively and be more mid-pack. I think
correct.
they're going to see if he can rate, and I think you have to send with Cardinal Road. I mean,
Correct.
you have absolutely no other choice, I would think. But all this speed, Pete, I think sets up perfectly for Lost Ark. Now listen, let's show the quick replay of Lost Ark, at least the stretch. We showed this on Thursday, Pete. I love the fact that Lost Ark's gotten 2 turns. I think that's a big advantage, Pete, compared to others in here that have not gotten 2 turns. Again, it was Monmouth. Okay, the class isn't quite as strong. You see, coming wide, he's got a big stride. I don't know if he's a stop and start type, Pete, but if he can get rolling wide just like this today, he's got a big shot.
Well, and I'm gonna take my chances with Pratt, making sure that he gets a relatively clean trip, so that helps too. Yeah, we want this one out. I guess the problem too, though, there's always with these 2-year-old races, there's a lot of speed on paper, but it's usually been a lot of them come out of speed where they're running in, maiden special weights, where they're the best horse. So they might have speed and are the best horse in that race. Now you're in a field. None of them have ever run with 15 horses. None of them have ever run against this depth, most likely, and this quality. So even on paper, if the speed looks like a horse may have speed, he may not have speed against a bigger field, may not be able to get out and beat other horses. Whereas if you're running in a smaller field where you're one of the best horses in the race, it's a little easier to get out and sort of flourish on the top, as opposed to what's going to happen here. So I think sometimes we think the pace is going to break a certain way, but then because they're all stepping up a little bit in class, it's still a mystery.
Yep. I just want to say, I hope everyone heard, again, if you can, we still have not had someone get my double yet. Tom, I'll just tell you, unfortunately, you are incorrect. Again, these are 2 consecutive races, either last year Friday or last year Saturday, that I had a double. That was my biggest cash of the entire weekend. And again, I want to repeat that I'm not saying for sure, or I'm not denying that they were big prices. I just put a big bet on it. They could have been 2 chalks. Again, how do you find out? You can go to the Breeders' Cup website from last year and try to guess the 2 horses I had in a row. I did talk about my picks on the show several times, especially after the Breeders' Cup was over. So if you want to go back and look at our videos post Breeders' Cup last year, I don't have the numbers, Kyle, but I did several times talk about the double that I had in the BCBC. So, and if no one predicts correctly and it hits, then hey, I'll be happy to keep the extra 175. Guys, I also want to show this for the people that are not familiar. The power picks have been fantastic overall. I'm going to see if I can make this a little bit bigger here as I try to zoom.
Bottom right.
There we go. Thank you. I had to find that. So, we don't want to go quite that big. But anyway, the power picks, if you've never seen them, this is the power picks that went out today. They're only $4 every Saturday. You can see we have big grids here that I'm pretty sure all of us are most likely I would have live too. I would think I'd have to look at it carefully. There's my turf pick 3 and Pete's. So got our turf pick 3 that we've given out, Pete. I mean, I know it was a 5-2, nothing earth shattering, but our turf pick 3 is looking very strong as of right now. We got home. We both had the 4, which is great. You see, I had Gear Jockey that I liked a little bit. Caribbean Keeper. There's Lost Ark. So this is what I talked about. For those of you that are not familiar with our power picks, Lost Ark was one of my picks, and I'm just going to make this bigger. Let me read this really quick for people that are not going to be able to see what we're looking at. This was my opinion on Lost Ark. Exactly 1 year ago today, I touted a horse on these power picks called Rail and Roll, who won at 7-1, blowing by the field in the stretch. I'm hoping history repeats itself with Lost Ark. I'm not going to read the whole thing, blah, blah, blah. But again, I think he's going to take back, make a big run. I like Pratt. I would not take anything less than 9-2, guys, is what I put in there. What's Lost Ark right now, guys, on the board?
I show 5-1.
Okay, that's within my value range. Again, we also have San Nita plays for later. The power picks are fantastic, Pete. And then also, Pete, you put out on another document, which we're not going to show right now. You have stats of the day. Why don't you talk about that crazy stat from earlier today that actually didn't quite come to fruition?
Yeah,
it was pretty damn close.
Yeah, that's so we had one where in the Golden Pal race, gear jockey Rusty Arnold I'm going to blank on it. The exact I probably have it. It was basically Rusty Arnold at
I know it if you're
Keeneland.
not sure.
Yeah, I mean I have it on here at Keeneland in I think turf sprints. I don't remember if there were any other qualifications. He was 22 for 22 in the money, and then runs what'd you say, dead heat for fourth, right?
Yeah,
Today. So 22 in a row, but I mean, it's one where these, like we always say with the statistics, they're data points. They're not guides. Yeah. They're, hey, if I'm on the fence or I'm sort of choosing between two horses or I don't know what to do with this one, maybe you look at that. Like Gear Jockey, he wasn't a win candidate for me. But if you look at that stat, you say, well, he should be a decent price. Maybe I throw him in underneath for sure. Or if I'm banging like a straight try, and then you lose and you're pissed. But I mean, I think they're useful when it comes to those circumstances.
It was last 5 years, turf sprints at Keeneland, Rusty Arnold, 20 for 22 for 22 in the money. Kyle, I know you're a poker guy like me also. Pete, I don't know if you like playing Hold'em. There's been a big controversy, a big cheating scandal, as some of you are aware of. We might have a little mini I shouldn't say scandal at all. It's not a scandal, but a little bit of debate because Tom Espinoza put an original guess in the live chat, which was wrong. I don't want to talk about it too much, but guys, he just texted me with the correct answer. Yeah. So we might have, he said he typed in something wrong. I don't know. Tom, I'll tell you, we'll see what happens with other people. Tom, if no one else gets it correct, then I'll allow you to have that 10%. Oh. So
Tom should win for just caring this much to even figure it out.
If someone offered me like a free possible $200,
yeah,
hell, I'd find out what the hell the answer is. But
I was gonna guess if no one else was gonna take it.
No.
I know
you are a paying customer of the show. So, this Tom, very nice, Tom. Tom, now
now everyone's pissed. Now you pissed everyone off.
Now you fired everyone up.
Well, all right. Anyway.
My guess would have been that you didn't even hit a double. That would be my guess. I guess you'd have probably ripped the ticket up.
The difference between Tom's original guess and others is I don't want to say. I can't even say him right now. Anyway, let's see if someone else gets them. Not Tom. I think we might. I don't know, Tom. We'll see what happens. First of all, I got to hit this double too, by the way, which is not easy. It's gonna be a 5-1 in a 14 horse field, and then it's gonna be like a 3-1 in like a 11 horse field. It's wide open. So anyway, if I hit this double, that'd be pretty crazy anyway. All right, guys, let's get back. Tell me what you think. We got actually 1 minute to post here. I don't want to bring back the PPs. Kyle, talk about the two. We don't have time to show the replay. Loggins, who won by 8 at Churchill, beating Easy Action, won very well. This horse is by Ghost Zapper out of a blame mare. We talked about Loggins on the show on Thursday. Owned by Spendthrift. I don't care how good you are first time out. It is not easy in a huge field to go 2 turns. He's 8-5, guys. That is crazy low, in my opinion, for this kind of race, Kyle.
Well, yeah, and I 100% agree with you, and my emphasis is on the 2 turns.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Go ahead.
No, I'm waiting. I was going to say, I'm waiting for you.
You got to explain, Kyle. No, forget it. Go ahead.
100%. That's all you got to say. But I mean, it's definitely a big thing going in a big field. Granted, he ran in an 11 horse field last time, but going 1 turn at Churchill, in my opinion, is way different than going in a 13 horse field at Keeneland, going 2 turns. So it's going to be extremely interesting to see how this horse runs, and especially he wants to be close with all the speed that's going to be coming to it from his outside. Granted, he could just, probably sit right behind him in this pocket, sort of middle of the pack, but he's going to need to definitely show me that he can get these 2 turns before I'm going to bet him, especially at what DRF projects as a 6-5.
Yeah, for sure. I'm wondering if I should change the question, but now we have 0 minutes. So I thought someone would know, or they'd look it up, or they'd care to guess, but apparently not. Okay. We'll do something next time a little more obvious, I suppose. This is a mid-stretch finish, guys. So you can't be that far back. We've talked so much about pace, Pete. Someone's just going to wire the damn field now.
Yeah, of course.
I have not been that impressed with any 2-year-olds yet, to be, in my opinion, other than Cave Rock. I know I had Blazing Sevens at a nice price. Blazing Sevens, was that the name of the
Yeah.
horse
Yeah.
last week? That I tipped out at a nice price. I don't know about him. I suppose if Forte wins, that really flatters, that race. Cave Rock out west still looks like he could be anything. The American Pharaoh today out west, Pete, has what, 3 Bafferts, I think, and any of
Yeah.
them look good. It sure looks like as of this moment, Cave Rock is gonna be a heavy favorite. He still's got to get the distance, and I think the other good horse might come out of this race today, Keeneland. Is that your thought? Do you think you saw a good effort in the Champagne? Where do you think the best races for 2-year-olds have been, Pete, this year?
No, I mean, I think Cave Rock has sort of separated himself, and I'm actually looking at the odds. And Ross made a good point that he's surprised that Forte is 9-2. If you look at Odds Checker for the juvenile, Cave Rock is big favorite at 7-4. Forte is the second choice at 4-1. So you could get Forte at a higher price in this race than you can in the juvenile right now. And then Carmel Road is actually the 4th choice who's in this race. I don't see what Carmel Road is going off at 11 right now. So 10-1 in the juvenile. And then your Blazing Sevens is 3rd choice. So I think right now it looks like Cave Rock's to lose. Tyler, Instant Coffee is in this race, is 16. I'm just looking at ones that are in this race that are on the board here. So I think it's up for grabs to your question is, I think who's next behind Cave Rock is sort of up for grabs right now. And if Cave Rock looks great this weekend, then I think he's going to separate himself even more.
Pete, I'm looking at the pick threes, the dollar pick threes, the discrepancy between Loggins and Forte and Lost Ark to me is just crazy. The dollar pick 3 to Loggins is $48. Okay. To Forte, it's 110, and the Lost Ark, it's 132. I mean, the pick 3 to Lost Ark is 3 times as much as the 2. And maybe Lost Ark is too slow. Maybe there's just too many horses to pass. I mean, Lost Ark's going to have to work out probably a better trip in theory because of the post and everything. But 5-1 still seems like great value, man. Lost Ark, Pete.
I agree. I mean, that's the horse I like.
Yep.
I don't know. I mean, a 90 buyer in your debut, though, that's going to take money. I mean, there's a lot of figure bettors out there. So they see a 90. I mean, if you look at everyone else's debut, it's quite low.
They're going to the gate. You got to wrap up your thought there. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm
calm down. We're fine.
I'm just gonna say
horses.
I'm just gonna say that to Paul's comment in the chat, there is a lot of yellow going on out there, and
even the jackets, and everything.
The jackets and the saddle cloths. There's a lot.
And
of yellow.
Well, actually, I had. They should be showing chiclets. I should see chiclets.
They'll be
That's
fine.
part of the reason why I wanted to watch the Keeneland feed, because they have chiclets. So guys, it's gonna be a little bit tricky. Real quick, guys, what are the saddle cloth towels for the 2 and 10? You guys tell me the colors on the PPs. Can you tell me? Or not the saddle cloth, the jockey silks. Can you guys tell me, please?
Yeah, I got you.
Real quick.
2 is
10, Kyle?
2 Spendthrift, so it's orange purple.
Okay.
And then the 10 is Herald Ventures. It's black with looks like gold, so it's like a Calumet type thing.
Okay. They are almost all in the gate as we're watching. This is the Breeders' Fraternity Grade 1. The winner, free entry into the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. We're expecting a fast pace as I'm watching right now. Carmel Road, the 15, is about to go with that Starlight Silks, is about to go into the gate. You'd have to imagine it's going to be a fast pace. Should be fascinating. Here we go for the Breeders' Fraternity. And they are off. Carmel Road actually broke a little bit slow. There's plenty of speed on. Again, it's a little bit tricky to tell where people are, so I apologize. Carmel Road is sending all the inside
absolute
horses.
Mad dash.
The cattle call, Kyle.
Yeah.
This looks fast.
Stampede.
This looks as predicted, guys. This looks very fast. They are 3 across the track here. This has got to be 22 and 3 or something.
I'll take the yellow horse.
I'll take the horse with the yellow saddle cloth.
Yeah, I'll take the yellow saddle cloth.
So Lost Ark is second to last, which does not
back.
surprise me. And the 2 is the Spendthrift is battling Loggins. He's battling. That was 22 and 4, guys. If Loggins wins this race, he is absolutely a monster. This is a very fast pace, Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, Lost Ark's a little bit farther back, but again, they just went 46 and 1, which is, I mean, it's a little bit slower than the 22 and 4, but it's not by much. Like I said, if Loggins wins from here, he's definitely a serious contender in the juvenile.
And the horses aren't. Lost Ark is now
He's
making a big move mid-pack. He's gonna have to come up the inside. This might be dicey here. Oh boy, why are you not wide? I have no idea. The two Loggins has the lead.
Loggins looks super comfortable though.
He looks real good right now. Someone's making, again, it's hard to tell the colors, guys.
That's seven. Who's the seven?
Forte is making a big move now on the outside.
And
no one's really making a big move from the back of the pack. Now they're coming. I don't know if this is Forte or not.
It is Forte on the outside.
Lost Ark too far back. It looks like Forte takes the lead. It's Forte and Loggins. Loggins on the inside.
Come on, Forte.
Forte on the outside.
Come on, Forte. Fight back.
Loggins. Forte. Loggins. Forte. Forte wins the Breeders' Futurity. Loggins runs a monster. Monster second. Final time, 144 and 3. They got the 3/4 in 111 and 3. That was a backwards race, guys. They just went slower and slower throughout. Someone was closing big from the back. I do not know who it was. Again, guys, I'm not hearing the race call announcer, obviously, here. It's very hard for me to tell with the chicklets. If someone knows who was coming from pretty far back there. It looks like Carmel Road was in third at one point, but he got passed by 2 horses. One on the inside, one on the outside. I couldn't
that horse
really
on
tell.
the inside, whoever that was was coming. I mean, it was just...
I think it might be. I'm not going to say anything.
Audio on either. Okay.
No.
And in the future, I might have the audio on for myself. I turned the audio off just so I could.
No,
I mean, I know. I'm
trying to get an eye on it here.
You guys don't hear any audio, right? You just hear me. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. I just realized I should have the volume on.
I almost think it's Lost Ark.
You guys can't hear that.
He was cutting. He was.
See, people at home.
I almost think on the inside it was Lost Ark, but I'm not going to say anything.
I am going to, in the future, guys, make sure I have the volume on in my own headphones. I just didn't want it played throughout. They're showing the jockey cam. It also looked like Forte was lugging in. Did you guys see that? It looked like Forte was going to go by, and then, let's see, that was Irad had to sort of steady just to make sure he didn't, get DQ'd or go into him. Forte got an unbelievable setup. Sure. I'll tell Loggins ran a monster race, guys. I can't say enough good things about Loggins. This is a serious horse, but Forte wins. Pete, maybe Blazing Sevens is better than we give him credit for. That Champagne is coming out to be a very live race right now.
The hopeful.
The hopeful, excuse me.
The hopeful. Yeah, it's up and down, but it's got some good ones coming out. Yeah, and Forte, I mean, he looked great. He ran his race. He sat off. It was Irad. I mean, it's Irad, so it's not surprising. He sat off a hot pace and made basically the similar move to what he made in the hopeful. Not that much different. And then just, he had a better horse he was chasing, I think, this time. So I was happy because I wanted to rather see Forte in the pick 5 than the favorite. So that works out.
Yeah, 100%. I'm still trying. By the way, Lost Ark went off at 6-1, guys, but obviously didn't. I'm still trying to find out who got third here.
The 11. Wow.
The 11 got third?
Yeah. Red Route 1.
Red Route 1 for Asmussen. Okay, we'll have to take a look at that horse. And who is fourth, Kyle?
I have 7-2-11-5.
5.
Instant Coffee.
Instant Coffee. Okay. I'll have to watch the replay on Lost Ark. I know he was far back, and then I'm not saying Pratt cost him the race or anything, but if I saw Lost Ark correctly, Pete, it looked like Lost Ark was coming up the inside on the backstretch, and then had to steady and wait, and that really hurt him. Oh, there's an inquiry, guys. There's an inquiry. Hello.
Uh-oh.
Well, here we go with Irad again.
That's
guys,
objection.
Forte came in.
Oh, that's garbage, though. He's not coming down. He didn't do anything.
No
way. That's
Forte
horrible.
Came in a little bit.
That's horse racing. I mean, they're going to bump a little bit.
That. Oh, boy. Here we go again. What?
Keeneland's having a fun.
Every time, guys. What is going on?
Right there is a little bit
nothing.
Dicey.
That's nothing. If they take him down, that would be egregious. That's horrible.
Do you need the 7, obviously, Pete?
No, I have them both, but I mean, I'm just talking just purely.
There's only one spot in here where you can make a case, and it's about right here.
Okay, we can't show it, but right at the top of the stretch.
Yeah, that's
I'm
nothing.
watching it
Well,
here.
it's an IRAD objection. It's not a it's a no inquiry. It's just a full IRAD objection, or
Well,
not
it's not
IRAD
IRAD.
objection. Yeah,
This
it's
is
Floron.
Giroux.
Yeah.
He came in a little bit. Oh boy, here we go again. I mean, I'm biased. You know, they've got a camera on Giroux, so it's interesting to see if he like steadies or if you can see the 7 come over on him. It was just past the wire. This is fascinating because TVG guys had a camera on Giroux. So I mean, the stewards aren't going to use that, but okay. So IRAD's pleading his case. By the way, let me just say this very clearly for everyone. Very clearly. I don't think IRAD did anything purposely. That's my opinion, guys. I'm speaking for myself. It looked. I said it. If you go back and watch, you guys remember I said like, ooh, it looks like it looked like Forte came in. It looked like he did it on his own. Pete, when it's this close a finish,
I don't even know what we're talking about here. In all honesty, I mean,
I
think
in.
I think he came in, but it's not. I mean, I think you might as well because the stewards are so bad at their jobs most of the time, and they're so unpredictable.
Wow.
Why not make an objection? Because you might get lucky.
Okay,
here
it is. You guys, I'm watching
way.
TVG right now. I don't know if you're what. We're gonna be able to see. Like, I want to see how bad. Like, there's definitely some space there, and again, this doesn't really. I mean, the camera view doesn't really help the situation, but all right, Kyle. Well, Pete's pretty clear on how he feels. How do you feel?
I mean, it is a little nitpicky. He did come in, and I definitely, you can't take anything away from that. The camera shows it, but I mean, to take it away from him at this point, granted, it was only separated by probably a neck at the end there, but I don't know. I would probably range more on the side of Forte than Loggins.
I don't know what's going to happen here because my guess on Stewart's, although they've already taken some horses down in Keeneland.
They have twice.
He came in a path. There was definitely contact, and Loggins almost went into the rail. I don't know what I would do, but if he comes down, it would not surprise me. I know we're going to disagree on that, Pete, but I don't know.
No, I'm not saying I don't think they could take him down. I just don't think they should take him down. But I would never try and predict what stewards at any track are going to do. So
he didn't really take his path away, but it was Kyle to me. It was a little more than putting him in tight. And again, that makes it sound like IRAD was doing it on purpose. He came over a path and a half, and Loggins did have to come over a little bit, and that was what he lost by a nose. I mean, I don't know. Let me say that I thought Loggins ran the best race. Yep. Forte was going to be winning the race. I don't. This is a 50-50 call for me, Kyle. I really don't know what they're going to do here.
So you're right. It's going to be good reactions no matter what it comes in, I think.
What do you guys think in the chat? We got a lot of people watching live right now. Should Forte stay up? Should she come down? Christine Ray said these are 2-year-olds. I'm assuming, Christine, you're suggesting that they're still a little bit green and we should allow it. That's usually not – the stewards don't usually take that into account, I would say. I don't know, guys.
I think it's sour grapes because I think I think Forte wins by more maybe if he doesn't come in and then he doesn't come out. No, I know it doesn't matter, but I'm saying he won the race. It didn't impede the race. I think I don't think the bump changed the result of the race is the way I would think about it.
Well, that's the big question. Obviously, that's the big question. I'd like to see the finish again. I mean, it was really close, right, Kyle? I mean, it was.
I think less
than a neck, right?
Yeah, I think it got up to just about a neck at the end there.
All right,
but I mean,
I'm turning the volume on.
I'm gonna go booth review. I'm gonna say inconclusive video evidence. That's gonna be my guess, but we'll see what happens here. That'll be interesting.
Gabby, Caden Bradar said there was a DQ yesterday at Keeneland. I think they left it up, guys. Hold on.
No change. I just heard it from
no change.
What's his name?
No change. Congratulations to Forte. I would just say Caden Bradar said they took a horse down yesterday for something that was less than that. So
it was in like the 4th race, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go. So Forte and Todd Pletcher wins the Breeders' Futurity. Obviously, our lost our pick didn't matter, Pete. So my double and pick 3 is all gone. That's okay. I took a swing. I don't mind taking swings. Again, we have to watch this is something I'm gonna have to watch the replay for a lot. On the surface, Pete, you would think both these two are going to go to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. You would feel that way. The Instant Coffee, you said finished fourth, Kyle, right? And then third was Red Route 1. Excuse me. Let me go ahead. Hold on just 1 second here.
It's a rough one to say for sure.
Yeah, Red Route 1. I'm going to go ahead and put up the PPs because I want to relook at the 11 real quick. This was a turf horse, actually.
Yep.
This was a turf horse who was 45-1. Wow. Nice filling out the try. Who was a closer. Again, I'm not saying I like this horse. I didn't have this horse. Oh, geez, another gun runner. Wow.
I was going to say by more gun runner.
Had a very good light time for US, but that was on the turf. I would, you know what, guys? I don't know if she'd get I don't know if he'd get in the race, but I would be tempted to think that Asmussen might be going to the juvenile if he can get in. I mean, why not? I don't know. We'll see. And then Instant Coffee, we did talk about in the show, finishing fourth there at 12-1. Here's Forte again, guys. Doesn't need the slop, obviously. Your knee-jerk reaction, Pete, of Forte's chances in a month from now.
I mean, I think if Cave Rock runs the way he has been running, I don't know if he has a huge chance unless Cave Rock runs into some unlikely circumstances in the juvenile. But I mean, I think Forte is definitely at the top. I think probably both of these are at the top behind Cave Rock at this point. I don't really know who else has been overly impressive enough to put in. I think that, like we said, I think if Cave Rock runs his race today, it's a cluster behind him, I think. And maybe these two sort of separated themselves just a bit. And then Blazing Sevens off that nice win and the third in the hopeful. And then the win, what was that in? Was that the, whatever that was, race that he won? I think those are the horses that probably are in that second tier and then the ones behind him.
If I don't get a cold in the next few days, I'll be surprised because
I know.
Now Kyle's got the.
I know. I thought I muted my mic. I must have double hit.
Am I going to get sick now the next few days, guys? What the hell is going? Are you okay, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm sorry. I thought I muted my mic. I must have double hit it.
No, you did. That's okay. I muted it for you. No one needs to hear your.
I agree.
Anyway,
trust me.
Sinuses coming out of your nostrils. I don't. Well, first of all, it's a very exciting race, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Who do I want going forward? I want Loggins going forward. The breeding on Loggins is really good as well. The problem with Loggins, guys, in the juvenile is it looks like he's a speedy type, and Cave Rock is too. So I don't know how that's going to work. And you'd have to think Cave Rock is much better speed than the speed he saw in this race, Pete. So again, It's a month from now. We don't know who's going to be in the race. There's a lot to uncover here. They're talking to IRAD. If you got one of you guys. I don't want to actually. I'm going to turn the volume on also for myself. IRAD just said that Forte is still figuring it out, guys. But that's what Christine Race was saying. It's a 2-year-old. If he doesn't lug in a little, Pete, he probably wins by, like you said, 1.5 lengths to 2 lengths. Because it looked like the momentum of Forte did slow down a bit because IRAD didn't want to go in further.
Yeah, and then I think when Loggins popped back out, I think they both sort of got knocked off a bit. I think, but I think he was going by.
I think
it was pretty simple
for me. To agree with this decision, of course, unless you needed Loggins like I did. But I want to be very truthful and honest. Like I said, I thought it was more 50-50. I wouldn't have had a problem either way. I've seen a hell of a lot worse. That's for sure. I'm looking at the final times and the final quarters. Lost Ark finished 6th, guys, just to let you know. Again, I think he had trouble on the turn. Pete, I'm going to guess that Lost Ark will be saved up for the it's not the Damoiselle. It's the Remsen. I bet we see Lost Ark in the Remsen, Pete.
Yeah, I
think he's going to be a nice horse going forward. Or maybe just rested up for Florida.
Well, this was a weird race when if you watch it on replay again, there were just packs and some of them were way, way back. And I mean, it's hard to make up that ground. And then, excuse me, they were sort of separated. And then there was a sort of a wall of horses. So the ones trying to come from the back had to navigate. I think it was just a weirdly run race. This might be one that some of the horses in the back, you could almost toss this one a bit and maybe get them at a price later because they didn't run as well as it looks on paper. But maybe it was circumstance of the race more than their performance.
Kyle, you've watched a lot of races. You own a bunch of horses now. Tell me what you feel about Dean said. if you see an objection over an inquiry from the stewards, do you think that automatically means it's a bit less likely that a horse will be taken down when the stewards don't put up the inquiry sign?
I mean, I don't say that, but I wouldn't say that by any means. Granted, it's something that the steward it wasn't so obvious that the stewards missed it. But I mean, the jockeys are the guys that are gonna know. I mean, because I don't think Florent was in the wrong to lodge an objection there, to be honest. I mean, with how close the race was, and Tim and Forte did lug in as we saw. So I don't think Florent was necessarily in the wrong at all. I just think no inquiry, just it wasn't as it's not very it wasn't obvious to the naked eye at watching that race. So
Yeah.
I don't necessarily think it's less likely to get taken down if there's no inquiry. I just don't think it's like directly in front of us, I guess.
I'm watching the replay right now. Pete Forte got like almost exactly the same trip that Rattle and Roll got in last year, like mid pack,
Yeah.
saving ground, tipping out. It was a very similar trip. I'm not knocking Forte at all, but you do have to watch trips, and he did get a good trip. Lost Arc, by the way, had a little bit of steady, had to steady on the first turn, or before the first turn, and did try to come up was on the inside the whole time. Did try to come up the inside, had a slight steady. Again, we'll talk a lot more about this on Tuesday. Lost a little momentum
He's gonna
and then
steady
tipped
here.
out and just wasn't good enough, Pete. I know
No,
we
I,
both,
yeah, I
Right
don't.
there.
it actually steadied
Yeah,
again.
right there.
He did not, again, when there's a 14 horse field, Pete, or 15, you're going to have issues. He did steady twice. He finally got room in the stretch and angled out, but then was just a little more like one pace. He's like, we watched his stride, Pete. He's a big horse that probably needs a clear run. I didn't want him to come up the inside. And again, we'll talk more about this on Tuesday. Um, he definitely had some trouble. I'll just say that, but it clearly wasn't good enough. All right, we're gonna take a quick break, I think, guys, and catch our breaths here a second. We have 20 minutes to post to the next race. Let me just put up a banner here. Let me find that real quick. We really appreciate everyone watching the show. We're gonna take a short break, and we'll be back in about 90 seconds to talk about several things, including a preview of the last race and what a race this is. They're going a mile on the turf for the boys, the last grade one of the day. We'll be right back, folks. All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. The first thing I want to do real quick, guys, I have to talk about this horse because there is an absolute superstar running this weekend. No, it's not today. It's tomorrow. And I know everyone right now at home and Pete and Kyle are like, let me look at my, PPs or the Breeders' Cup. Guys, this horse is running at Keeneland tomorrow. Excuse me. This horse is running in Lexington tomorrow, but not at Keeneland. I know what you're thinking. What the hell is he talking about? I'm talking about this horse, guys.
Yeah.
Now, I have to mention this name. If you are not familiar with Bulldog Hanover, this is actually a harness horse. And I'm not going to go on too long, guys, but Bulldog Hanover is like the flight line of harness racing right now. He has not accomplished as much as others in his career. He's won, 1.1 million. And by the way, this 6-5 is an absolute joke. He's going to be 2-5. If you're not familiar with harness racing, and I know Pete, you are a little bit. Kyle, I don't know how familiar you are with harness racing. This horse is the fastest horse in the history of harness racing. You see on the bottom here, I don't know if you can see where my arrow is here. 1:45.4 is a world record that he ran on July 16th. He paced the fastest mile in the history of harness racing. He's gone 1:48, 1:48, 1:46. These final quarters, guys, of 25 is absolutely insane, like off the chart crazy. This race, if you're a fan of horse racing, it's race 11 at the Red Mile. It's the Al Raj, guys, tomorrow. It's basically, I'm going to put us on screen. It's basically the equivalent of like the Whitney. It's like one of the better older horse race in the country. Pete and Kyle, have you followed this story at all? I mean, this horse is just unbelievable fast, and the Red Mile is known to be a very fast track. The thought is maybe that he can break that 1:45.4. Have you seen this horse at all? Do you know anything about this horse, guys?
I've never been a big harness guy. I've never really watched, never bet harness at all, but I have heard of this horse. I've watched his races. That last race, I'm surprised that quarter is as slow as it is. That last quarter in 27, that turn of foot that he showed in that last race was, and like I said, I'm not a big harness guy, but I recognize game, as they would say. That horse is that turn of foot is insane for a harness horse.
Yeah, I've spent my whole life I mostly was a harness person for the first probably 20 years of my life. So I was there when they broke 150 for the first time at the Meadowlands and the races but the times it is, not to take anything away from him, for some reason the times are so ridiculously fast now where there's claiming, you get like a low level claiming race where they go 1:49 and change now, where in the old days that was saved for the top horses. Wow. So for something, I don't know if it's equipment, I don't know what it is, the tracks, but something has lowered these, and he's the best at doing it. So he's lowered it to an even greater perspective. Again, Lexington, that Red Mile, that's where you used to go to try and break world records. So that's where they always went to try and break them.
It's like a clay surface. Anyway, I don't want to talk more about it, but check out race 11 at the Red Mile tomorrow. Pete, I got to bring this up, and then just real quick, Pete, comment on Derby Bandit. You know this. He meant IRAD. I know. You know this thought is out there, Pete. I don't want to say anything. I want to let you comment. As Kyle, a little bit of an eye roll there, I think, from Kyle.
No, I was laughing. I was laughing at the last comment. Where's Paco?
Oh, okay. Derby Bandit, thanks for joining the show. We appreciate your comment, Derby Bandit. Pete, you want to respond?
No, I mean, I agree with him. I just don't think what he did here, I think that was just normal race running. I don't think this was an IRAD thing. I think IRAD in general does a bunch of crap that probably needs to be stopped or curtailed in some way. I just didn't think that to me, that was just normal race riding and down the stretch, two horses. I don't think, I think people pay attention to it. I mean, in the old days, you never would have even thought of that as anything that was a potential disqualification. That was just bumping down the lane trying to get position. So, but I agree with him that I think IRAD does do enough stuff and doesn't get maybe punished enough for it.
You know what, Pete? I'm going to go the opposite way. I think that was great riding by IRAD. I think IRAD sensed that the horse was lugging in, and just before it was too late, he got the horse off of the two and kept him straight. I mean, Pete, if IRAD comes in, forget a half a path, a quarter a path more, and the two really like steadies and checks out, he comes down. No question, he comes down.
Yeah, no, I think that's what I'm saying. I think it was good race riding. I don't think he did anything
Right.
untoward in
I
that
agree.
race. I just think that's the way you win a race, especially when you're dueling with another horse down the lane. Yeah, it was a good comment there by
Well, wait a
Tom, by
minute,
the
Pete.
way.
Hold on. Now I'm confused. Are you saying that he purposely came in a little bit? Because race riding, usually that phrase means that Irad purposely was coming in a little bit to put him in tight. I don't think that's what happened at all. Is that what you're saying you thought happened?
I mean, I don't try and guess what they're doing. I can't tell if it was the horse that did it on its own or if he was trying to just give him a
Okay.
little nudge. I mean,
Okay.
but I think even if he tried to give him a little nudge, to me, that's race riding in the lane. I don't agree with the fact that you can't bump a little bit. I just think if it's not egregious where you're just blatantly cutting someone off from their path, but if they're next to each other, when you're next to each other, a little something, that never bothered me. I mean, I always thought that was just the way races were run. I
Okay.
just think if Irad is known for cutting a path off,
Well,
cutting a horse off,
yeah.
and making them steady, which is different than what he did here.
I'll have to watch the replay. Guys, we got to go to the next race. We can talk a lot more on Tuesday, Pete. We'll talk about this more. But it looked like to me the horse came in a little bit on his own, and Irad tried to correct him. That's what I saw. Anyway, let's go on to the next race, guys, because this last race here, the last Grade 1, is one hell of a race. In fact, our friend Paul Halloran said this is one of the most wide open stakes races he's ever seen. And he's been around the track a long time. It's the Coolmore Turf Mile. It's boys, Grade 1. It's $1 million race. You can see it's a big field. Smooth Like Straight, the number 2, is scratch. That is a big scratch because not only was he a win threat, he was also an early pace threat as well. There are some other scratches. The morning line favorite was Santine at 7-2, and he is the current soft favorite at 3-1. Let's go to the PPs. Pete, give me your thoughts here on actually give me your top 3 if you don't mind on this race also.
Yeah, I have. So I'm actually live. I have my top choice is Casa Creed. I just think he's in form. I mean, a little bit of the speed went away with Smooth Like Straight going, but I think if we can get a little bit of a pace up front, I like Casa Creed off the pace. And I'm live in the pick 5, the turf pick 3, and the late pick 3 to 6, 7, 9. So Ivar, Santine, and Casa Creed, which going by the odds isn't the craziest of choices, but I'll take any one of the 3 at this point. So, but that was my picks on the show. I think we're Casa Creed over Ivar over Santine. So I sort of like those 3.
So Pete's playing this as a race that might fall apart. Kyle, where do you lie with the pace situation? Who are your top 3?
Again, before the scratches, I absolutely loved Casa Creed in this spot, but with a little bit of pace taken out of the race, I'm still going to go with Casa Creed. I still think that this horse is in absolutely great form right now. There's nothing really that I can take away from him in his last 2 races. Beat Regal Glory in his last race, beat horses like Arrest Me Red and the Jaipur, who again hasn't come back strong, but I think he's getting really good at the correct time, and I love this horse in this spot. Okay.
Let's talk about horses that might be a little bit up closer. I'm a big fan of Santine, guys. I do not like the 3-1. That's what I guess I should have expected, about 3-1, but I don't think he is going to be that close to the pace. I know. Actually, I'll tell you what. He was 110-3 at that place where the quote unquote Arlington Million was run. I think he's very tactical. I think he's really good. He was a closer early in his career, so I think he can do either one. The mile might be a bit too sharp. We'll just have to see. I think Ivar is definitely hurt a little bit, guys, by the scratch of Smooth Like Straight. Maybe not a lot, but definitely a little bit. I think that's something you got to take into account. What do you guys think of Mason? Mason was the top choice of Craig Johnson, of the Derbyologist, our guest on the show from Thursday. Pete, he's got tactical speed. I don't know if he's good enough, although the numbers say he's pretty darn close.
Yeah, I mean, he's one where it definitely wouldn't shock you. I mean, it's a Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt, Juddmonte horse. So again, there's obviously something there. But if for some reason he just left me a little cold, and
me too.
He was more of an underneath, maybe, if you could get him at a price where I think he's another one, though. If you look, I mean, he's never been worse than second since he's been in the U.S., except for until he faded to third in the last one. So he's usually pretty tactical. So he'll be right there. So depending on how the pace develops, I feel like he could clunk up. I don't necessarily see him on the win end, but again, it wouldn't shock me. I think he's a talented enough horse to where he could win the race.
Kyle, your thoughts on Mason, and we gotta listen. Oh boy, here we go. We gotta talk about Sumion a little bit, who rides Order of Australia. Well, I'll just say flat out, this guy has no business being allowed to ride right now. I think it's completely insanity. He did get 2 months, or 2 months, right? It wasn't 2 weeks; it was 2 months, I think.
2 months.
I mean, for almost, well, killing a guy might be a little bit strong, but I mean, blatantly shoving a guy off his mount, a horse going 25 miles an hour, 30 miles an hour. Anyway, this horse obviously upset the Breeders' Cup mile 2 years ago at, was it? Let me get the exact odds for everyone here. And okay, actually, I'd have to go further back than what's on here. But anyway, he's in pretty good form. I don't think he's impossible either. Talk to me about the 3 and the 5 in this spot, Kyle, in your opinion.
I mean, I originally in my ticket, because my I was big spread in this race. I actually had both the 5 and the 3 in this race. I mean, and Aidan O'Brien is it's so interesting that his horses, again, this is said time and time again on so many different platforms. It's so interesting how his horses can do so well in Europe and just come over here and be flat. I'm not going to get too far into the Suleiman and the Sumilan stuff, but I do agree with Howard in this, but again, that's a story for a different time. I don't think Order of Australia is impossible here, but again, Aidan O'Brien's gonna have to come over that hysteria that he has. And Mason was definitely a candidate, but being close to the pace in a race like this, as you saw in the last race, besides Logan's extremely amazing run, but I don't see him as a win candidate in this one, but he could definitely hold there for your exactas and tries as well, is what I think.
By the way, Kyle, with Order of Australia, the funny thing is he's 1 for 12 at a mile, and his only win was the Breeders' Cup mile. And he actually, if you look at his races instead of just the Breeders' Cup, and he almost looks like a better horse at 7. That's when he generally seems to win. But they keep running him at the mile. I mean, he's not that successful, but he takes money because he's a Breeders' Cup. He was the Breeders' Cup winner. So He always seems to take a little bit of money, especially when he comes over here and you see O'Brien. I did have a stat where Aidan O'Brien at Keeneland on the turf, obviously, is 1 for 14 wins. So the only win was that Breeders' Cup mile here at Keeneland. So he's run here and he's won here. So that always gives him a shot. But I think that race was weird. And Howard, you were looking, he was 73-1.
Yeah.
So normally we might look at a race like that and say, it was sort of a fluke. If you looked at it just as a regular race and not the Breeders' Cup, you might say, it was a 73-1 shot. He didn't look that good coming in. So I'm going to think of that as more the outlier than as the form.
Annapolis is taking some sneaky money, guys, and I don't like this horse at all, but he is taking some money. I guess he can improve. I was a big fan of him, but in general, I don't know if he's progressed the way I wanted. I think the value of the race right now, guys, is Ivar 9-2. I think that's crazy. I mean, you can make the argument he's the best horse in this field. He's 9-2. I mean, what has he done wrong? And he stumbled in the Woodbine Mile, and then finished 5 lengths back. That was to the most likely Breeders' Cup Mile winner. I mean, Ivar 9-2, Kyle, to me is the value of the race. In fact, I'm going to my phone right now and I'm playing some tries with him and little win bet, even though I still like Santine. But for value purposes, I don't see why Ivar can't win this race at all at 9.
No, I mean, maybe people are looking at the pace pressure now getting taken out of this race, so people are less high on Ivar, but I don't disagree with that at all. I mean, 9-2, 5-1, that's good value on this horse, especially for a horse that, for his last 10 races, he's run his lowest buyers in 97. I mean, especially if you're a figure player, that 92 is looking pretty juicy in this race.
Well, and Kyle too, the cool thing is, I mean, he came off what is that? An 9 month layoff. He gets a win. Then he goes off again for 2 months, comes back. He runs a pretty great second to Modern Games, who's a monster, with a 103 buyer. So he could be second off a short, third off like a long layoff, second off a little bit of a shorter layoff. This could be the time that he pops, actually, and actually is on the So yeah, I mean, that's why I had him as my second choice. I just think he might just be in form. You like to
Yeah.
see when a nice 6-year-old is sort of reaching back and getting their top form again and sticking around, right? And
Old
running
guys.
a little. Oh, those old guys, man.
Yeah, the old guys are coming back. But
I like that. I like that.
But yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong. I mean, like I said, it was a little bit that he only just got up over Finest Sound last time. I do remember that. Because I had exacted that paid what 5-1 or something like that day. But yeah, I mean, there's no reason, especially like I said, if he can get the setup, there's no reason this horse cannot win. He's definitely good enough.
I'm seeing 0 minutes to post. They're about to step out on the turf course. We probably still have a good, again,
got
as
a
we're
little
watching
ways.
it here, a good probably minute and a half here. I guess nothing really surprised. There's got to be speed in this race though too. You got something like a Hot Brown.
Oh, yeah.
Classic Causeway from the rail has to go. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh, there's definitely still a
you
little
would think
pace in
there's
this
going to be
race.
speed in this race.
I have horses that can't win any other way. Classic Causeway has no other chance but to get on the lead, and basically some like it Hot Brown is the he doesn't have another chance really. It's not like he's a sit off, so he has to go. I mean, they have no other shot.
Tom, I've chased the Tone several times, and you know what? I'm actually using him underneath at like third because he takes blinkers off and it's Maker, and I know this horse has ability. Just if he had a better post time, I'd be a lot more interested in a Tone. He's been disappointing. Most of them are in the gate. Here comes Ivar in the gate. This is a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup Miles, the Coolmore Turf Mile Race 10 at Keeneland. Let's see who takes this $1 million race home. And I do with the volume on for myself.
All right, let's see if Kyle can finally cash a ticket today.
Let's do it.
They are off, and there's some bumping on the inside. It looks like Order of Australia got off a little bit slow. Here comes the 13, a Tone. With blinkers off, is actually going to get a great trip here. Stalk on the outside. It looks like Santine is going to be in a good spot. They don't look like they're flying. This is Mason has the lead. You got Mason on the lead. Annapolis in second, a Tone on the outside in third. Something like a Hot Brown getting a pretty tough trip. They're not flying. 23-2 is the first quarter. Relatively comfortable here. Mason has a big hold, guys.
Kyle, this is exactly the wrong. This is what we talk about, Kyle. This is exactly the opposite of what we wanted. I mean, I hate when this happens.
Yeah, it's gonna be the way it is. 40. I mean, actually, they did quicken up a little bit. 46-3. We'll see. I don't mind where Casa Creed is in this spot, to be honest.
No, Casa Creed's fine, and Ivar's right behind him. Here comes.
I'd be more worried for Santine than anything.
Yeah, Santine's further back than you expect.
Ivar hasn't even tried yet. Here comes Ivar, and here comes Casa Creed coming 3-4-1 into the top of the stretch. Mason has the lead.
Come on with this 9.
Creed on the outside with Order of Australia, and Ivar coming over the top.
Come on, baby.
But you've got the 8, Annapolis, Ivar, Order of Australia. They're all close to the lead. Annapolis has the lead. Annapolis is going to win the Coolmore Mile. Ivar gets second. I think Order of Australia third, 1:33-1. I was completely wrong about Annapolis, who tipped out at the stretch. There was a little bit of bumping, but he did get out. The 3-year-old Annapolis running a monster race is going to win, guys, with a masterful ride by guess who? Irad Ortiz. They were all flying from behind, including set piece, but they could not get Annapolis, Pete.
Yeah, it was terrible. I mean, it's exactly the opposite of how the race was supposed to go. He gets a perfect trip sitting behind what turns out to most likely be cheap. You know, Mason was probably cheap speed. The one thing I didn't agree, and this is the horse. This is usually a horse that a kind of horse form wise that I play and didn't hear and usually lose, is a horse who, if you look at his PPs, he improves every race. So every race this year, actually every race of his life almost, but every race this year, 85, 91, 92, 97. And that 97 was basically like a glorified workout. He didn't do anything in that. He didn't have to do anything in that race. So he was just on the come up. And then with the perfect trip, it all worked out beautiful for him.
Yeah, just it comes down to seeing more speed in the race. And like we said, it always ends up being that the pace structure never shakes out like it says on paper.
especially on the turf, Kyle. And the turf, it seems to do
not
it all
my
the
day,
time.
man. That's just the way it is. It just ain't my day.
Guys, this is what I'm gonna do today. You ready? I am turning the page because
Yep.
this was guys, we have to be honest on this show, especially myself, since I am the owner of the podcast and I am the host of the podcast on most days, not all days. It was absolutely wrong today on like almost every front. Just wrong, wrong, wrong. I I talked about Annapolis a little bit taking money. Of course, they always know, right, Pete? But when you think a horse can only win on or near the lead, and you project a pace scenario that doesn't favor him, it's hard for me to put this horse on top. I couldn't do it.
Well, I think though Annapolis is funny because his only race really close to the lead was the last one, and then he had his second start in the Pilgrim. He sat just off, but otherwise he does come from the back. But again, he's tactical. He looks tactical enough where he can. I think that last race was just a toss in the sense of he just went to the top because he was so much better than everyone else. So I think that was the outlier. I think his normal race is sort of sitting mid-pack and closing. And I think, again, he chased cheap speed. He got the jump on all the big closers. I mean, every other horse Santine's supposed to be your horse. He's supposed to be sitting right off. He was second, third to last, turning into the lane. I don't understand what was going on with him. And then Casa Creed and Ivar, I think Ivar might have had a little bit of trouble at some point, and then they were just a little too far back, and they were chasing a horse that just got away.
I would say that's a good run from Ivar there again. Actually got second and unofficially, of course, but I mean that's a good run from Ivar as well in that race. But yeah, I think again Annapolis sits the pocket trip there behind the speed. Again, I'm not going to take anything away. It's a great run, a perfect ride from Irad. Just getting the perfect trip and flying them home. There's nothing to take away from that, I would say, as well.
I mean, where's the speed from Something Like It Hot Brown? Where's the speed from Classic Causeway?
I don't know where.
This try is 6-1 over 5-1 and 6-1, and I'm really freaking pissed because, as I said, I back wheeled Ivar, so I had Ivar all big tries in second, and I liked Auto Australia a little bit, as you guys know today. We talked about on Thursday, who ran a real nice race, by the way, for third. I just didn't see Annapolis. Let's take a look at Annapolis real quick, guys, and then we'll wrap up the show here. So, very quickly, I remember his first race of this. He was really good last year. Let's just say that. Okay, very good last year. I think he got injured, if I remember this correctly, guys, and couldn't go to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. I think he had a little minor injury. Is that right, Pete?
Yep.
So the Penn Mile was a disaster only because that was really soft. Like, it was really soft. The horse that won was like 60-1. It was some weird, freaky race. Okay. Runs perfectly fine in the Manila, but only runs a 91. Did improve, but okay. Got the job done. Maybe the Saratoga Derby was just too far, but ran a good second. And I guess what turned me off, Pete, obviously the 97 is fantastic, but I mean, he got away with murder on the front end, 25, 49, and almost 49 and 4. And it wasn't a very strong field. It was only against 3-year-olds. Now he's stepping up today, Pete, for the first time against older. When he got away with murder last time on the front end, was a much tougher race. I guess what I glean from this, guys, is Pletcher's not going to send a 3-year-old into this race if he's not confident, and they put Irad on him, who's always been on him. I guess, to me, I just didn't read between the tea leaves enough. It wasn't that I misread his talents. At least that's how I'm thinking for myself.
But I mean, I think with him, and I think we've said this all year with the mile division in the U.S. is it's good, it's not great. So anyone could beat anyone anytime, and this one at least. I mean, he's 3, so he's still on the improve. Like you said, he had that race on the soft in the Penn Mile. He lost to Nation's Pride, whose Nation's Pride's awesome. I mean, he's a really good horse. It's not like that's a bad run. And then he was maybe even a little bit further back than he likes to be there. But I mean, that's just a really good horse. Then, like you said, the last one was just hard to judge because just even looking at I remember just looking at the PPs for that race. You're like, what the hell are they even doing? This is a joke. This is basically a work. And I mean, his odds show that. So he was hard to judge, which is why I think I sort of left him off and had him. He was basically like a C for me. So I think if I would have, I didn't play an ABC ticket, which screwed me today. I just played one ticket. So I would have probably had it if I had to pick 5, if I played a normal ABC type ticket. But Hey, he got the perfect trip. Like Kyle said, I mean, if you're going to sit the right trip and you have a talented horse and you're sitting the right trip behind horses that aren't that great, then you're going to pull away and win. And then the ones coming from the back were just had too much to do.
Yeah, the trip was absolutely perfect, just in the pocket, and then Ira tipped out. I will say, Kyle, final thoughts on Annapolis.
I mean, just harping back to what Pete said and what I said earlier. I mean, like I said, I don't want to take anything away. He ran a perfect race. He got a really good trip, and he exploded away at the end. I mean, I don't want to take anything away. I just think it's a benefit of the trip. Do I want him next time? No, I don't. But that's just the way it is. You lose, and that's why we bet Keeneland, is because Keeneland has the opportunity to have these. Granted, sometimes they don't make sense, but sometimes you're able to catch a good price and catch a good pick 5.
My final thought is, if Annapolis ends up going to the Breeders' Cup Mile, which I don't know if he will, and if there's not a lot of speed in the race, I think he'd be a fast and egg underneath type. Underneath, I don't know about second, but maybe in for third. Modern games, then one more. If it's not Euros 1-2 at this point, Pete, I'd be shocked. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it depends on who comes. I mean, obviously we know modern games, so modern games going to be a huge favorite, most likely. So, but depends on who comes. I mean, the underneath anything can happen underneath when you have a bunch of talented horses. You could just trip out and hit the board in some of those races at a price, at a nice price.
All right, guys. Well, we are going to wrap up this disastrous betting show for me today. But hey, you have days like this, right? I mean, we've been on live shows where we've crushed it. So that's going to happen. It's okay. Keeneland's very difficult. Pete and Kyle, we greatly appreciate you guys joining the live show today. Our next live show is Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. I have a guest lined up. I'll talk about him through Twitter and emails. But we actually have a guest, guys, coming on for the entire part of the show, not just the second half. And there's a lot of other races going on. The racing day is not over. Maybe I can pull off one of my comebacks in a poker tournament where I am down my few blinds that I can make a big comeback, because I'm playing San Anita tonight. So who knows what's going to happen there. But again, next show is Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. We're going to recap a whole bunch of stake races throughout the entire country. And then we're also going to have a great show next Thursday for the QE2 day at Keeneland, which is another great day of racing. For my co-host, Pete Visco and Kyle Roscoe, this has been your host, Howard Kravitz, episode 188 of the HHH Racing Podcast. Please enjoy the rest of your evening. Good luck in any horses that you bet tonight, tomorrow, and, of course, in the NFL. We'll see you next Tuesday night, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.